Heya Cryptozens. Tonight's show: Kwon Updates, Treasury talks Tornado Cash, and Merge Eve and hardware wallets. It's 10 p.m. Pacific, and the date is September 14th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nicodemus, and I'll be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. If you have questions or comments, come find us on Twitter or email us at nick@cryptoovernighter.com. Also, keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Well, it's official, and it should be no surprise to anyone. They are coming for Do Kwon. South Korean prosecutors have a brand new investigation into Do Kwon and the executives at Terraform Labs. So apparently there have been several meetings between the Financial and Securities Crime Joint Investigation Team and crypto experts, as well as financial regulators. Why the meetings? Well, it looks like Korean prosecutors are trying to establish whether or not Terra's digital offerings, if they were securities or not, to include Luna. You know, it seems like much like it is in the United States. There's this lingering question: are they securities or not? And this is something that Korean financial regulators have been struggling with, determining which assets are securities and which are not. Some Korean experts are arguing that all cryptocurrencies are securities since they can be issued like stocks. If it's determined that Terra issued securities in the form of Luna, that's big trouble. That means Terra Labs, Do Kwon, and the other executives are potentially looking at prosecution for violating the Capital Market Act. Note that this is on top of potential fraud and tax evasion charges that they've been facing since May, just after the U.S. Terra stablecoin decided to eat itself. $60 billion in investment funds lost on that one. And that was just a starting point. Fallout from Terra Labs took out multiple other companies on their way down. Three Arrows Capital, Voyager, Celsius. They're all directly damaged by Luna, significantly damaged, because Luna dropped from an all-time high of 119 just back in April to almost zero. No kidding, it was so bad that they were posting suicide hotline numbers in Luna's Reddit community. If you were a DeFi project that was touching Terra USD, your project probably dropped an average of 80%. And so it is that South Korean prosecutors have been working to widen their probe into Terraform Labs. They want to take a good look at why the UST Luna system fell apart. And the South Koreans are not the only ones. Now, reportedly, the United States Securities Exchange Commission has also decided to take a look at this. But the U.S. SEC has been after Do Kwon for a while. Remember, back in September, a year or so ago, he was served with a subpoena as he left Messari's mainnet conference. Now, at that time, they were interested in the Mirror protocol, but later said that the subpoenas were improperly issued and served. However, there was a class action suit brought against Kwon and Terraform Labs both. That one appears to have been properly filed in June in the U.S. District of Northern California. So that was yesterday. Now today, South Korean authorities issued an arrest warrant against Do Kwon and 5 others. And yeah, it's for allegedly violating the Capital Market Act. So they issued warrants against Do Kwon, Han Mo, Nicholas Patias, and 2 others. And it might be a bit of a territorial fight on our hands, because while South Korea is issuing the warrants, Do Kwon is in Singapore. And so Kwon has hired attorneys. Back on August 17th, he hired a law firm based in South Korea. This was just days after saying that the authorities never tried to get a hold of him. So he hired lawyers after saying that he wasn't in any kind of trouble. Now, maybe Kwon specifically wasn't placed right then until today, because South Korean prosecutors executed a search and seizure on 15 different firms last July. 7 of them were exchanges. And so it came to pass that South Korea did investigate Terraform Labs and found them guilty of tax evasion and market manipulation. They banned Terraform Labs employees from leaving the country. However, Kwon had already fled, so it remains to be seen if he's going to get away with it or if he'll get extradited. Maybe Interpol has to get involved. So even despite all this, Kwon is claiming innocence. He denies allegations that the whole thing was a fraud. He also claims to have lost most of his wealth in Terra's collapse. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1 trillion even. That's up 1.46%. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin up 0.17%, Ethereum up 4.18%. Maybe that's a pre-merge pump, because people dumped Ethereum hard earlier today, but it looks to be making up for lost time tonight. Tether, USDC, and Binance Coin up 0.88%. For some time now, there's been anger and confusion over Tornado Cash. Ever since the U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control sanctioned Tornado Cash, people have been upset and kind of confused behind the whole thing. Because OFAC came out with their sanctions alleging that North Korean hackers were using Tornado Cash to launder money. Now, how could the government sanction a tool? What does that mean for people who've used the tool? How about people who've had the tool used on them? Remember that? Some anonymous actor dusted a bunch of famous and crypto-famous people with small dusts of Ethereum that had been passed through Tornado Cash. Does that mean these people are in trouble? And what about people who had put money on Tornado Cash before the sanctions? How do they get their money back? Well, the U.S. Treasury Department and OFAC are working to clear that up. They posted to their frequently asked questions on Tuesday. In there, they tried to clear it up. They updated their own site to take care of people's questions. Remember GitHub? It was either GitHub or possibly their owner Microsoft, but they kicked Tornado Cash off of their platform because they were worried. No one wants to go to jail over this, so they preemptively shut Tornado Cash's GitHub down and locked the developers out. Well, apparently that was entirely unnecessary. Part of OFAC's update today indicated that U.S. citizens won't be in violation of sanctions just by making a copy of Tornado Cash's code. It's open source. Now, tons of people probably already have copies. Also, publishing the code or otherwise making it available on or offline, not a problem. So making a copy of the code and putting it on your own website is totally okay. And further, they said, quote, U.S. persons would not be prohibited by U.S. sanctions regulations from visiting the Internet Archives for the Tornado Cash historical website, nor would they be prohibited from visiting the Tornado Cash website if, again, becomes available on the Internet. In fact, Treasury said users could generally use and interact with Tornado Cash's code, except, and there's always an exception. In this case, that exception is a prohibited transaction. So no transaction, no problem. Well, what if you have money sitting on Tornado Cash? Or if you've started but you've never completed a particular transaction? As long as those transactions on Tornado Cash happened before August 8th, or that money was deposited before August 8th, you can apply for an OFAC license to either make a withdrawal or finish your transaction. They said, quote, U.S. persons should be prepared to provide, at a minimum, all relevant information regarding those transactions with Tornado Cash, including the wallet addresses for the remitter and beneficiary, transaction hashes, the date and time of the transactions, as well as the amounts of the virtual currency. OFAC would have a favorable licensing policy towards such applications, providing that the transaction did not involve other sanctionable conduct. Also, they spoke up on the dusting of celebrities with small amounts of Tornado Cash Ethereum. In the updated FAQs, they say that it is true U.S. citizens are not allowed to take part in any transaction where Tornado Cash is involved, some amounts are okay. If you're a U.S. citizen and someone sends you a small amount unsolicited, you don't have to report that to OFAC. Now, recently, people have begun to push back against the U.S. Treasury Department's actions. Coinbase decided to fund a lawsuit against OFAC on the subject of Tornado Cash. So why are they doing this? Why is OFAC sanctioning anyone at all? They said in their initial announcement that the Lazarus Group, a North Korean hacking group, had laundered millions of dollars through Tornado Cash. That up to 20% of the volume through Tornado Cash, that was laundered money. A Treasury spokesperson said, quote, North Korea has increasingly relied on illicit activities, including cybercrime, to generate revenue for its weapons of mass destruction and ballistic missile programs. U.S. persons must comply with these sanctions. More broadly, we call on the cryptocurrency industry to do its part to prevent illicit activity, nation state or otherwise, as that is what responsible innovation requires. The global NFT market cap is up 38.53%. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are CryptoPunks, followed by Otherdeed, Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, and Pudgy Penguins. Now keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. By the time most of us wake up, it'll be over. Either Ethereum will have successfully upgraded and integrated the beacon chain or not. Either the merge will be successful or it will not. At that point, it will have migrated Ethereum from a proof of work to a proof of stake consensus model or not. And whether that works or not, there are some folks who are going to want to go back to the old days. A number of miners are getting ready for a hard fork that will let them continue settling transactions using proof of work, which this sort of thing has happened before, perhaps most notably when Ethereum split into Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. There was a disagreement about how to handle a massive hack. The community voted one way, and then some folks decided that wasn't the way they wanted to go. So now we have both Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. And then what happened? They airdropped a bunch of Ethereum Classic. So if you owned 100 Ethereum, they dropped 100 of Ethereum Classic on your wallet. So there's the possibility that could happen again. We could have a new hard fork. And this would see Ethereum split into 2 networks. You'd have Ethereum on one, and then you'd have Ethereum W on the other. It is a completely different coin from Ethereum. So that might lead to some questions. Now, a lot of exchanges are halting trading for some period of time before and after the merge is estimated to happen. Remember, they don't know exactly when it's going to happen. So they want to make sure nothing happens to your balances during the merge. What about wallets? Hard wallets. What happens to your Ethereum once the merge goes through? Well, if you're a hard wallet customer, you don't have to do anything. In fact, I would suggest that you should not do anything. Because there's scammers out there right now trying to scare folks into trusting the wrong person or clicking the wrong link. What about forks? What if Ethereum forks? Will my wallet work? Again, basically the same answer. Do nothing. Frankly, there's no guarantee any fork is actually going to happen anyway. So the manufacturers, they're just going to wait and see. They've been watching this impending merge for a while now, and their job is to make sure that their wallets are safely ready to store your crypto. That means adapting to change. Joseph Tedek is an analyst at Treasury, and he said, quote, Treasury Suite will not support interaction with the pre-merge proof-of-work coins after the merge, but users can still use their Treasury with a third-party interface like MetaMask to access the older version of the blockchain. Similarly, Tangem has no plans to support the proof-of-work fork. Quote, until we are certain of the seriousness of the proponents of this hard fork, we are not ready to show our customers support for the project. And Ledger, they're not supporting a new fork from day one. The company will not, quote, support an Ethereum proof-of-work fork on day one as there are a number of technical aspects that need to be evaluated to ensure it's safe for users. Chief among them is ensuring the new chain is secure. So there you have it, folks. Basically, it's a wait-and-see situation. No matter what does or does not happen with a fork, your main net assets are safe. And as far as a fork goes, there's nothing for you to do really anyway. Scammers look for events like the merge to try to suck people in. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to FOMO. Don't let anybody push you into doing anything quickly. When in doubt, Google it out. If you feel like something's wrong, it probably is, and you should probably walk away. Also, make sure to leave out milk and cookies for Vitalik. Be safe, and we'll see you on the other side. And that's going to do it for us. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. Take care of yourselves, but take care of each other too. We'll see you tomorrow night.